An NHS hero who fled war-torn Afghanistan as a child is pleading with the UK government not to turn its back on those desperate to escape the Taliban. Dr. Waheed Arian, who spent much of his childhood sheltering in cellars as bombs exploded around him, says the desperate scenes of Afghans fleeing Kabul brings back traumatic memories. After fleeing to Pakistan aged 5, Waheed eventually returned with his family to his home country, but was forced to leave again as a teenager. He arrived in the UK aged 15 and eventually graduated from the University of Cambridge with a medical degree. He's now set up a scheme where British doctors advise medics in Kabul via Skype.
Well, Dr. Waheed Arian joins us now from West London. Good morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us this morning. It is an incredible story there, hearing what you've been through. I know that you still have family members, don't you, out there in Afghanistan. Have you been in contact? How are they? How are you feeling about the situation at the moment?
Thank you very much for having me. Yes, I have my family members on the ground. I have got medical colleagues throughout Afghanistan connected to our charity Arian Teleheal. So I've been receiving continuous updates. It is a humanitarian disaster that's been unfolding in front of our eyes, and so rapidly. Thousands of people are already dead and injured. Tens of thousands of people have been displaced. They don't have food, they don't have shelter, and they don't have the basic living necessities. The international community urgently needs to provide that aid and needs to oversee a peaceful transition. The Afghan people, they are absolutely traumatized physically, mentally, and they're tired of this endless cycles of intervention, military intervention and abandonment. So I'll tell you my story briefly, which I've described in my memoir, In the Wars, and that represents the stories of millions of other Afghans. I was born in 1983 during the Afghan-Soviet conflict. We spent the first 5 years in cellars hiding from the daily rockets, the bombs, and after that we fled to Pakistan like millions of other refugees, where we stayed in a refugee camp with absolutely inhumane conditions as a family of 8 to 10, staying in a tent and then in a muddy room where most of us contracted malaria, and I contracted tuberculosis. I had about 70% chance of dying. It was actually during my treatment by the doctor that I was inspired to become a doctor, so I could heal people who were suffering like myself. And there were many others who were suffering more than I did. In 91, we went back to Kabul, Afghanistan. In 92, the civil war started, and as soon as a couple of days ago when I received a text saying that the government has been toppled, it brought back that my signs of depression and PTSD that I stemmed from that conflict when we were running for our lives with our family members from one street to another, hiding again in cellars, dodging bullets, the rockets, just to find safety, going back and forth to Pakistan. And that was my life. Most of my education did happen in cellars because the schools were shut, healthcare systems were absolutely destroyed. So people are wary that they don't want this situation to go in that direction. In 1999, my family put all their money and all their fate into the hands of an agent to send me away. They couldn't find a way to send me through a formal route, so they had to find an irregular route to send me away, and I landed in the UK as a child refugee, age 15, with nothing, just $100 in my pocket, no family support.
Well, now, that's an amazing story. You came here with £100 in your pocket. Your family took that enormous risk that you just described. You're an NHS doctor. You went to Cambridge. I think you went to Harvard as well. And your story is exceptional.
I did.
But congratulations, it's an unbelievable and exceptional story given your circumstances. But in a way, you aren't really an exception. And what I mean by that is, how many more children in Afghanistan are there who aren't going to get out now and who could have had your life?
Well, that's exactly the point. There are so many others now. They want to flee. Tens of thousands of people, they want to flee. They can't find a way. They need urgent support. They can't wait for a resettlement program that can take a very long time. So they need that international community to give them the same safety that I was given to me, the same compassion that was shown to me. They have equal talents, they have equal dreams. So when I came here, I brought in my resilient determination with me, but I brought that dream to be able to contribute. And I am very proudly serving the NHS and globally through our charity in Afghanistan and elsewhere.
And you should be very proud. And we know that you are the first UK citizen to win a UNESCO Global Hero Award back in 2017. It was presented to you by the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, who we're about to speak to imminently. Do you have a message for her?
Well, I was very proud to be celebrated by Britain for my contribution as a refugee. There are many others like me who want safety, they want to rebuild their lives, and they want to give back. So I hope the government will think again about the anti-refugee, the Nationality and Borders Bill, which will criminalise and turn away people just like myself, who want to come here for safety and they want to do something for their lives and give back.
OK, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We really appreciate it. That's Dr.
Fantastic
Waheed
story.
Arian there.
Incredible.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure.